Have you ever stopped to think about the fans behind a band? What is it about the music that keeps fans coming back for more? Or is there more? My name is Renae Lipsmeyer, and I am the host of this podcast, The Space Between Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of the Dave Matthews Band. Each week, a fellow DMB fan joins the show to discuss their journey with the band. Welcome to the Space Between Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Space Between Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of a band from the 90s. If this is your very first time to listen to this podcast, we are going to talk about a band that started in 1991 and is still performing live, is still putting out albums, and is still getting new fans. This is what I would call a multi-generational band. And I think a lot of people will agree. On this show, we've had grandmas, mamas, teenagers, 13-year-olds, and even younger. All across the world, they've got one story in common, and that is that they love the Dave Matthews Band. So if you're not familiar with them, we are going to make you get very comfortable with them in this episode because I've got a fan of the band on the show who is someone that I talk to regularly. So we have like some stories together, and that always makes it fun when like their journey coincides with someone else's, but it just happens to be that it coincides with mine. So I'm excited to have you on the show. Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and just something about you.
Okay. Hey, I'm Kelly. I'm from Toledo, Ohio. I would say amongst all of the like 9 or 10 fan groups that any one of us are in on Facebook at any given moment, which is where you and I met originally, I think I might be one of like 3 from Toledo. I find myself doing a lot of the traveling by myself. Everyone's coming in from like bigger cities from all 4 corners, all the big C's, the Clevelands, the Cincinnatis, the Columbuses, and then outskirts, and then crazies like you that'll come all the way from Arkansas, all the way up to the Midwest to come hang out with people like me. I feel like I'm the one lonely Toledo girl.
So shout out to Toledo.
I know. I mean, there's a couple fans up in Michigan just across the border, but yeah, I have been a fan since the 6th grade, and
Wow.
I'm 41. It's my 41 year. I got my first cassette tape in the 6th grade that I still have, that my darling brother recorded over half of it with like Sister Hazel or some other comparable 90s band when you used to record over cassettes on the radio.
Hell yeah.
Went to my first show in 2000 with my mom. I was 17. And just honestly went to just one show a year. Every year. I wasn't in the mindset at that age that you could go to multiple concerts a year, but I wasn't of the mindset that you would follow the band around.
Right.
I didn't realize that it was like a Grateful Dead following or like a Fish following. I don't even think I knew or was cognizant
about
of Fish
that.
even then.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I just thought like I went to a show and it was nearby and now I am done with that show, you know. And so then around 2022, speaking of stories, I was separated from my marriage. And that was the exact hour I decided it was time to ball out. Like it was time to get out of the house and do what I want. Not that, I ever couldn't before, but it was just time to, I think everyone, you just want to shake the cobwebs loose,
Yep.
And so that was the year that I don't even know how I discovered all the different fan groups. I might have got on one. It must have just come across my feed, and then one always leads into another, and you notice someone commenting and like, oh, if you're looking for this, try this group, and if you're looking to connect with this person, try this group, and then all of a sudden I had 9 under my belt. I don't know how it happened. It just happened because I mean, each venue has their own group, and each city has their own group, and there's I'm in the teacher group, and I'm in the there was a singles group, and so then I think that 22, I went from one show a year to 6 shows in 5 days or 5 shows in 6 days, something like that. And that was the summer that we met. That was my first year to, like I said, ball out. So it was Pine Knob. This is not going to be in order by any means. It was Pine Knob. It was Creek End, which is like the double already. It was Alpine, so Pine Knob Creek and Alpine, and then Blossom. So maybe it was 5 shows in 6 days because there was probably a day break in between.
Yeah.
I remember coming home
Wow.
and crying from exhaustion, but like
I
the
bet.
best kind, the best kind.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Like your
Yeah.
heart was so full that it was
Oh,
heavy and it was making you tired, but in an awesome
just the
way.
travel. Yeah,
Oh,
just the
the
travel in an
travel will
awesome way.
kill you. It is.
And I was thinking about this earlier when I knew I was going to come on. I was thinking about how beautiful of a transition that was for me. And I don't want to make the entire episode about like, let's rehash my divorce.
No,
That's
no,
such a
no. I get
bummer.
what you're
But
yeah.
it was such a wonderful transition. It was honestly like if we separated in April, then tour started in like what was it, May, June. And so it was
Mhm.
very close. And so I went from this will be the last sad thing I say, what felt like losing a family to regaining a new family. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And it felt
Yes.
so instant and so the occurrence was so instant and the bond was so instant and I think actually now that I'm talking about it, I want to say that there was a winter meetup with our good friend Ridge, and I want to say there was a
Ridge
winter meetup
Richter.
first. Then by the time spring came, they said, "Find us in spring. We're your new family now, basically." And
So you
then
just
in
showed
spring,
up to this winter
that
camp
I
out?
definitely did. Yeah, and I was still married, and he came with me, and it was a great time. We both had a great time, and I did the brave thing, and I just showed up. I didn't know a single person in the room,
So
except for,
what
and
did
I knew
that
Rich
look
from like the
like?
groups, and that was it.
What does
What's that?
that look like? What does a winter camp out look out for those that are listening and they're like, what in the hell is she
It
talking
wasn't a
about?
camp out. It was just a meetup at a bar, which was
Okay,
great. It was
gotcha.
casual, and it was they had a back room, and So Peachy, our good friend So Peachy, were like up on the stage, and they had, of course, custom cocktails. There was like 3 or 4 custom cocktails that were like Dave themed for songs, and then they had giveaways, and I'm sure someone had bracelets, and someone had vinyl stickers that I still have. I can look at it right there in the kitchen, and it was like it was just perfect. It was like a mini version of the meetups that we always have before our shows, but it was off season when everyone
Mhm.
really misses each other, and I hadn't had an
Yes.
opportunity to miss anybody yet. So it was really my first introduction into this family per se and
Right.
this cool kids group. And they really, really, really welcomed me with open arms. And it was terrifying. Like you walk into it was in Columbus. And so you walk into a bar you've never been into before to meet up with people you've never met before. It was like a blind date with 20 people at the same time.
Yes.
That's exactly what it was. It was a blind date with 20 people at the same time. I turned this fan off. But then no one let you sit alone. And this is the thing that you and I have always said about this fan base is that it really is like there is no cool kids table. We're all sitting at the same table. We all are family. There is an infinite amount of room at this table for you. Do you want to bring 2 friends? And they want to bring 2 friends and they want to bring 2 friends? All of you are going to make space for you. And it
Yes.
didn't feel like, who's the new girl? Why is she here? We've never
Right.
seen her before. She's from another city. Like, does she think she's cool coming to our meetup? This is our private party. It wasn't a private party at all. I felt so welcome. People would, eventually they would trickle over and approach us. Who are you and where are you from? And how'd you find out about us? And how'd you get here? And then by the time spring came and this happened over here, and then it was time to go crazy by myself. I had already had like a pre-established group of people that I could go find. I wasn't truly
Yeah.
traveling alone. So I always say that I travel alone, but I meet up with like 30 of my best friends once I get there.
Exactly.
And then you get to the spot, whether it's a meetup at a bar or the parking lots and the tailgating. I can't hardly walk 10 feet without hugging 30 people. I mean,
Exactly. It
it's a
feels
new
so
family.
good. It feels
Yeah.
so good, but it was weird in the beginning. And I always encourage people on this show to like, you've got finding the people is kind of a step by step deal. You can either go in the direction that you did, well, groups first, right?
Yeah.
And then from the
Mhm.
groups come the meetups. A lot of
Mhm.
times people do meetups because they're there with a friend. There's so many ways to get in, but I think truly the best way is through those Facebook groups because, like you said, there's
I
a
agree.
DMB related group for whatever you identify
And then you
with
have something immediately in common with that person. You've got
yes.
that tie where, of course, the band is the tie, but that's kind of what ties all of us. So it almost doesn't count. You have a more
Right.
specific tie. You have Cincinnati, or I'm a teacher, or I'm single, or you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
I'm new going to the gorge. Does anyone have any advice for me? You know, those things like
Right.
that. And then there's that comfort of the distance that the computer creates where like
Yes.
you might not be the type of person, you might see a really fun group in a lot and you might see a really fun group on the lawn and all of us are wearing those orange shirts, but you might not be brave enough to approach
Hmm.
because you just don't know if it is I'm the new girl approaching the cool kids table. It's not. If anyone wants to approach, it's not. Please approach. But I think the groups do offer that like that little bit of anonymity
Hmm.
and like you can feel more free to either like comment below someone's comment or just like it and kind of snoop for a little while and get the feel of the group. It's like being able to kind of like stand in the back of the room and watch the party.
Yes.
And then you could DM someone and then and then I know a lot of people that will just they'll see that I'm like a friend of a friend or I'm a friend of yours more specifically and it'll be Joe Smith and I've never met or heard of you before and they'll just add. And they're just like I'm just building my repertoire, I'm building my group, I'm building my family, I'm building my connections.
Right.
And then from there, you know, ticket buying is easier, meetups are
Hmm.
easier, traveling is
Hmm.
easier, everything just feels way more comfortable.
Because you're kind of in that world, you're introduced to that world, and there's so many pieces of this community, from the parties to the ticket sales to, hey, stickers or license plates, or man, there's a lot of them and they're all fun in their own different ways. But it's cool that there's so many different kinds of group, because there needs to be that way a person can pick the one that they're most comfortable with, and have options rather than just
Right.
being one group. And one group, with the amount of fans that the Dave Matthews Band has, it would be very, very hard to sort through that and build relationships if there was only one group. So I'm so thankful that so many
Yeah.
people have started these groups and are maintaining them, because I
Mhm.
know, being an administrator on these groups and
Yeah.
building your team to help you go through the comments and make sure there's not bullying going on,
I don't
or
know
that
how
there's
Gorge
not.
Crew does it. Gorge
I
Crew is one of
don't.
the biggest fan groups that we have, and it's almost like professionally run. Like they are a
Yes,
solid group,
they are.
and they must have like multiple admins in that group. I'm positive they do.
Yeah, they run it so well, and they're just doing it really well. So it takes work though, and so I'm thankful that these people are doing it. These
Mhm.
group administrators are not getting paid for what they're doing. They're doing it because they have a passion for this band, and a
Yeah.
want for other people to get connected. And so it's just great to see people using their talent and their time to help us build specific communities within our big community, which is just being
Yeah.
a fan of the Dave Matthews Band.
And that's especially like for those of us that are traveling alone and coming from like I have friends that like Dave and I try not to push it on anyone, but I have friends that like Dave Matthews and that would go to a show with me, but I don't really
Mhm.
have anyone that would go to all of the shows with me the way and you know what I mean?
It's
And
me.
so yeah, yeah, yeah. But it is like I don't think that I would be going if I didn't have this community, and the community is the right word for it. If I didn't have this community, if I hadn't reached out, if I hadn't been accepted, if I just went to the show and went home by myself, I don't know that I would go to even another show. Like, why would you go to multiple shows to have a by yourself experience 6 times in a row?
I mean,
You
I
know what I
could
mean?
enjoy it by myself, but I'd rather do it with
Yeah.
other people that are enjoying it.
And it just kind of falls into your lap, honestly. You can't really I don't know. There is slight effort to be made. There
Sure.
is a matter of you reaching out, but sometimes it does just really fall into your lap. Like someone will approach you in the lot or someone say, "Oh, hey, I like your shirt," or "Hey, cool sticker on your car," or and then, you know, it just spirals from there. That's how
Yeah.
you and then or you meet a lady in a group and she says, "Hey, I'm having a trivia night. Who would like to join my trivia night?" And then you have to have the balls to join that by yourself. I don't know anyone in that group either, and I just get on and we all introduce ourselves and we're two trivia nights in and we're all best friends.
You
And
know,
it's just that fast.
you go back to before there was a podcast, which
Yeah.
is an incredible thing to get to say, because I've been doing it for almost 3 years, which sounds wild. But I
Yeah, we met
let's
in
talk
22.
about when we met, because I
Yeah,
love that
let's do
story.
it. We met in 22 with, I think, just your trivia night. And I didn't know a single other person in that group. I didn't have like, hey, me and a friend, we're both going to come in together. I just like did it. And I
Yeah.
think 22 was a really transitional year for me. It was a lot of just do it scared. Don't wait until you're brave. Just do it scared. And
Right.
I did it. I just, I went to that meetup and I went to those parking lot parties and I introduced myself to people and I walked up to people and I joined your trivia group and I friended strangers on Facebook. And, if they said, "Hey, why are you friending me?" It's because, oh, we have this one thing in common. And I thought I just wanted to build my army. I don't know.
Your army of ants.
That's right. Yeah.
Your anthill.
So what about you? When did you start that trivia night and how long were you doing it before I popped in? Was it an ongoing thing? We had a really
Yeah.
small little tight-knit group of
We
fun
did,
people.
and it was pretty much the same people that came back every time I did it.
Yeah.
I
I
wish
wish
I
we would
would
have
have
branched out more.
documented more of that time, but I was still in my very beginning phases of figuring out groups and
Mhm.
people, and I knew a few people, but I didn't know a lot of people. And so, I started trivia because I love trivia, but also because we were getting through COVID, and so we could not do the meetups. We couldn't
Yes.
get together for the music,
I
and
mean, 22 was still like 2 years out of COVID. It was like I'm so sorry, my Alexa's going off. I don't even know if you can catch it.
Hey Alexa, play Dave Matthews Band.
That's so funny.
Oh wait, oh no, mine's going off now. Alexa is taking over.
She's my second brain. She was reminding my children who are not here, they're at dad's house. She was reminding them to start brushing their teeth and get ready for bed.
Yes,
I
she's
use
such
her
a
as a
helpful
second
little
mom brain.
robot.
That's right. Okay, so you were saying
I don't even know what I was saying. What was I saying? Okay,
you
so
were just
here's what
getting
I was
used to
saying.
groups.
Yeah, I was just getting used to it, and I really didn't want to lose what I had gained in small ways. And so I was like, I still really want to dig into this band and check out their history. Trivia is a great way of doing that. And so I just looked through the internet. I talked to people and got trivia questions. And I created this green binder,
I
which I still have sitting
remember.
next to me.
You know what, Renae? I would even postulate to say that if you think about the actual trivia nights that we had, how much of the evening was spent us just bullshitting and gabbing and sharing stories? And I went to this show and, oh, I would have seen you at that show and did how much of it was a mini podcast? And then maybe sometimes we would talk about trivia and you'd always try to circle it back around, but then we always just get, and so I think that was definitely your precursor to this venture that you're on now,
I think
for
so.
sure.
I think so. I mean, I look back on all of those times, and my story really does start in 22. And I'm sure you know this, but 22 is the year that I wanted to commit suicide. And no one knows that
Mm,
unless you've listened to this whole podcast and figured out like the reasons why I started this and stuff. But 22 was a pivotal year for me too.
yeah.
And starting this podcast out of just needing a creative outlet. I mean, doing it just for me. I remember so many times through like the first and second season, I was like, I don't care if anyone ever listens to this because it's for me. It's my way to get all my thoughts and feelings out about something that I really love and I'm passionate about. But what ended up happening was that because I always knew I wanted this to be about the fans, of course, I invited fans to be on the show and talk about their journey. And what I didn't realize was going to happen was that so many other people identified with what I was going through without me even telling them. And that there were just so many people that were hurt and struggling with loss and addiction and disease. And I had no idea what I was getting into, but what I found was again just this story that had to
Connection.
be told. And now it makes so much sense looking back, like the gradual to be where we are today.
Mm.
I love the year 22. It was a good year for me. It
Same.
was a good
That was
year
a
for
really
you.
good season.
It was highs
When
and
people
lows
ask
for
me my
sure,
favorite
but
show, what was the best concert you ever went to, I'll say the entire 22 season was just so
yeah,
perfection.
it was
Alpine
really
in that
good.
all day pool party.
Let's talk about Alpine. So,
Let's talk
Alpine, for
about
those of you,
Alpine.
I mean, let's just jump into Alpine. So, if you are listening to this and you're not familiar, or if you've never been to Alpine,
It's an
Alpine is in the state
experience.
of Wisconsin. The band has been going for over 30 years. So, I don't like to say traditionally they do this because there is no traditionally with this
Right.
band, but every other year is what it seems like the tradition is right now.
Yeah.
And so they do a Friday night and a Saturday night show. So you get that 2 for 1. A lot of people camp. There is, however, a sweet little like
Do not give
60s.
the name, do not give the address because they're gonna give our
No,
money.
no,
It is
it's
our
like a
little secret.
1960s ski resort in the mountains in Wisconsin, which honestly, I didn't, this sounds dumb, but like I didn't know Wisconsin had mountains. Like, I don't know. I don't live there, right? I know that they get snow, but that doesn't mean you have mountains. So we ended up scoring a room somehow. I don't even remember why or how, but
Unbelievable.
Kelly, but I can't
I
remember.
have my version of what happened, and I'm sure you're gonna have your version of what
Yeah,
happened.
and we'll do both sides. I don't
Okay.
remember how or why or when or where, but you ended up coming to stay with us, and I think there was 4 of us in that
There was.
tiny little 2 room.
I shared a bed with a woman. I couldn't tell you her name to this day. Don't know who it was.
I can't
It's
remember
not
right
it's
this
not
now, and I'll
busted mud. It's
probably be
fine.
like, what? But it was me and 2 other girls and my husband. So I keep thinking, like, how uncomfortable is this going to be for like the other women? Like, because my husband
No.
snores and he's a man, and they
No, but
did.
he's a peach. He's a peach, and
He
it was
really is. I mean,
great. I was so comfortable and fine around you guys.
I'm
It was
so
so,
glad.
yeah,
We had so much fun
we
and
sure did.
running around that resort like it was
A
kid
frat
camp,
house.
just like we were
It was
running up and down
camp,
the halls. People were running by our door, like
pounding on
yelling
doors.
things.
Yeah. Well, when you have a resort attached to a venue, it's going to be very unlikely that anyone staying at that resort on that particular weekend is just not going to be going to that show. Like,
Right.
what are the chances that there's a family taking vacation on that exact weekend?
Right.
And some people were, but it was 90% Dave Matthews fans that just took over that
Yep.
entire ski resort. And so we were just running up and down the halls, like you said, it was summer camp, pounding on doors. We're grown adults. We're moms and dads. We run
We didn't
businesses.
remember any of that at that time. We were just straight like, I'm Renae and I'm here for the Dave Matthews Band. Do you want to go swimming at midnight?
Yes.
Okay. And you know what? I think a couple people jumped over the fence and made that happen.
Did they? I didn't hear that. So I know our story very well.
Okay, tell me your side.
You and I met in that trivia group, and I don't know what made us decide to travel together. That part is foggy. Yep. Okay, no problem.
And it's as if I never left. Look at that. I'm going to stop it just so that I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's hear your side of the story and see if we can match things up.
So I know we met in the trivia night, and there must have been a conversation where we decided that we were going to start traveling together or going to Alpine together or meeting up. I believe you had offered maybe space in your hotel room. That part is blurry. I believe you were going to sell me a ticket. You were going to get a ticket for me, and you had a ticket. And I remember the feeling of I trust her because I'm going to go sleep in her hotel room, and I trust her, but do I? Like, we haven't met yet. And this is, of course, you would take no offense, and I know this.
Oh,
We
God,
haven't
no, I
we
would
hadn't
think the
met
same
yet,
thing.
and ticket fraud was a very real thing, and it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And the scammers, and like, not that I ever thought you were a scammer, but I just, especially that was my first year doing so many shows. I
Yeah,
needed to see a picture of that ticket. You said you had the ticket in hand. I said, cool, just show me a picture so I can take a breath. And you like
right.
couldn't, or you wouldn't, and you kept putting it off and you kept putting it off and you kept putting it off. And I was like starting to become a dick about it. And I was like, Renae, I'm going to need to see that ticket. I'm not going to feel comfortable getting in the car for 5 hours.
Of
I'm going to
course.
need you to send that ticket. And then I know that you had a moment where you were like, damn it, Kelly. I was trying to surprise you. You're having a really hard month. You knew what was going on in my marriage and whatever. And you and dad, your husband, who I lovingly call you guys mom and dad now, because of this weekend and because of this, had bought me surprise pit tickets for night two. No, for what, night one or night two?
I don't even remember.
Because it was like pit for one of the nights and then lawn for one of the nights. And I got a perfect experience because I got right here and then I got back here. So I think that's a perfect way to do a full weekend like that is if
Oh,
you
yeah.
do like one of
Both
each.
views.
But like, I know that you knew what I was doing and I didn't know what you were doing.
Of course.
And you were keeping it from me because I think you really wanted to surprise me at the hotel and you wanted to just hand them to me and have that like Ed McMahon with the big check moment.
Yeah.
And I see this now in 2020 vision, but in the moment I was like, I don't know you, lady. Just give me a picture of the goddamn
Right.
ticket. And you were
Right.
like, here, it's a pit ticket. And now you've got to find out in text. Are you happy now? And I was just crying. I was just beside myself because I had only ever gone to one show a year my entire life. And I had only ever been on the lawn for $50 my entire life. And then here's this woman, and I'm going to start crying now, that I'd never even met. And the group was like, it was just all of the pieces were coming together, Renae. It was just, they invited me to the cool kids group, and I was at the meetups, and I was meeting a stranger on the internet to go stay in her hotel room, and I was getting the real like festival experience of like sleeping with like not sleeping with, but sharing a bed and sharing a hotel room with strangers, and like going to like it was, and it was my first like 2-night set. It was my first time traveling that far because I'd only ever gone to Pine Knob. So like from Toledo to Pine Knob is about an hour maybe, and so I consider that my home venue because it's like the closest one to me. Everything else is 2 hours or more away.
Right.
Even though it is like 45 minutes to an hour. It was just so many firsts at the same time. And then for no reason, you guys gifted me and handed me a pit ticket for no reason. And it was just, I felt like I was winning the lottery over and over and over. For 6 days in a row, I felt like I won the lottery because it was just so many things happening at once. And then we get there, and I was just a mess. We get there, and again, it's summer camp. It's just everyone running in the hallways. And then there is the infamous all day, 8-hour pool party.
So good. I want to go back right now.
It was the best. It was just a shitty little outside pool, but everyone had their cabana set up and their towels set up, and everybody was libations and smoke and friends. And I met several new friends in that pool, and music. And I got a great tan that day. And then I looked great for the show that night. So it was so much. Oh God, it's going to sound so corny. It was just so much good all at once. It was just like, I'm going on my own, and I'm meeting my friends, and I'm trusting my gut and meeting these new people, and then I'm going to a pool party, and then I'm going in the pit, and it was traveling far away, and then 2 nights in a row, and it was just so much good all at once. Like that's how we met. So my memories of you and my vision of you is like, it's a core memory of this chapter in my life. That year of 22 is such a solidified chapter in my life and my personal Dave Matthews Band journey, if you want to call it that. I really would say that it, like, sure, I was a fan in 6th grade. Sure, I went to a show every year. My story did not start till 22. Like that's, I think, really where my, like all of this jumped off. And you were such a core part of that.
Oh my gosh.
With that silly little ticket, and your husband, and both of your kindness, and the two of you taking care of us. And your husband was, I'll take care of filling the ice bucket, and I'll be the one to go hide in the bathroom while all of the women are taking their bras off at night and changing.
He is amazing.
And
we really
you guys were just such caretakers.
We try to be. Like we both are caregivers in just life. That's who we are. That's who we want to be. And we love random acts of kindness. That's just the most ultimate thing, is to give something to someone that doesn't know what's coming to them. And I think, we just enjoy doing that. And so I'm so glad that it was
a core piece of that entire week of that tour for me. And it's like, I want it to be wild for you to know that, like, when I tell my kids that story, I'm going to have to mention Renae's name. Like when I'm 70 in a rocking chair somewhere talking to my grandchildren about, like, let me tell you about my experience following around this. It's like 70-year-olds now when they tell their grandkids about, like, I used to follow the dead around all around the country, and let me tell you about this miracle ticket that I got, and her name was Renae, and like, so you're going to be, it's just so cool to know that you're a part of somebody else's story permanently like that. And I just so appreciate you and your friendship so much. And now I call you guys mom and dad forever.
Mom and dad. And when I
text
you, I'm like, daughter.
That's right.
And it's funny because last night I was telling Justin that I had today with you, and he goes, which Kelly? Because we know multiple Kellys, as I'm sure you know multiple Kellys. And all I had to say was, it's our daughter. And he went, okay, boom. He knew exactly who I was.
I love it. He knew, because he tells me that too. It's so funny. We're not even that far apart in age. I think I'm 41. What do you just like?
I will be 46 in November. And I married a younger man this time. And so he's 44, but
can you hear it?
He's just a year like. Do what?
I shouldn't keep mentioning my Alexa. You probably can't hear it. I can keep hearing it.
I can hear it.
So he's younger than you.
Just by like 9 months, I think, or 6 months. I don't know. So just by a little, but I like to say it because it sounds edgy.
Yeah. So Alpine was so phenomenal. Like I had that pit experience. I don't while it was such a blessing, I don't know that I would ever do the pit at Alpine ever
It's
again
a
because it's
lot.
a
It's
football
too
field.
big. It's too
It's
big.
way too
But
big.
that whole place is so big. Like
I
the
mean, Pine Knobs, I always say
lawn.
Pine Knobs pit is a living room. It's the size of a living room. I was there, oh gosh, that's a story too that I would love to tell. But I sat second row at Pine Knob one year and it felt like I had seats in the pit. Like
Wow.
it felt like the pit. Like it's if you could ever get it's a living room, Renae. If you ever look it up, it is maybe 100 people, maybe. And
Wow.
then at Alpine, I don't think they had any pavilion seating, did they? It was all pit, wasn't it?
Oh my God, I don't even remember. I know that sounds like a terrible answer, but I swear
No, I
I'm
can't
losing
think
my
of
memory.
pavilion seating. Yeah. So what was your experience of Alpine? What are your memories
So
based
that
on
was
like
my first time too, and
yeah.
we had no understanding of what this was going to be like, or that we were going to love
That
it so
wasn't your first
much.
show, was it?
No,
No.
it wasn't my first show. It
Okay.
was just my first time to Alpine, and it was because so many people talk about it all of the time as one of the meccas. Like if you're going to see the Dave Matthews Band, people will name,
You have to
of
hit
course,
these
the
hot
Gorge,
spots.
the spot. I'm copying you. SPAC, Deer Creek,
Yeah.
Alpine is always, or West Palm Beach. Those are always like the ones
Deer
people are
Creek
going
is
to.
a non-negotiable for me.
I like
At
Deer
this point,
Creek.
Pine Knob might even be more of a negotiable than Deer Creek is to me, and that's
Uh,
my home venue.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
We were just, it was charming to be in that little ski town because that's so
Yeah.
different than what I have here in
Yeah.
Arkansas. And the little lodge that we stayed in, I mean, that alone was like the number two in the story. The number one was the music, of course, but the number two, like you said, it was such a big deal. And so many memories were formed at that lodge. I
Completely.
remember us just acting like children when we found this
Completely.
literal retro arcade. Do you remember that? There was
Yes.
like an arcade that was only old stuff,
Oh my God.
like
Yeah.
as if they had never remodeled the place. It was
The whole place didn't look
standing
remodeled. It was
still
crumbling
in
under our
time.
feet. I mean, my God.
And we were paying like $1 million to be there.
It was worth it. And then we walked, and then like, what do you do? Like a not a commute, but when you go to Mecca, that what is the Bible term when you're like walking all together in a group, like
Oh,
Moses and his
shit.
people, and we all like walked from the hotel to
Yes.
the venue together,
Yeah. Going in the
and
back
that
way,
was
we felt
really fun.
special,
No worrying about
and
parking.
no, none of that.
No
We
worrying
just
about
go
where's my
down.
car.
It was like go down a dirt road and you're going to hit the back of the venue. You're going to
100%.
go in the back door and then boom, there you're inside. I was like, what? That sounds like a trap.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's the real story. And so everything was really unique. And I can see why people love it, not only for just the area, but the music is special at Alpine. I always hear
The
that
sound.
the band
And he
loves
pulled out all the
Alpine.
stops too. I think it's one of his
Yes,
favorite venues. He really pulled out all the stops.
it was great.
It's
It
worth
was
the
great.
travel. If anyone's considering it, 5 hours is not a big deal. I made the mistake of asking one of the groups, is 5 hours too ridiculous? And people were just laughing. They're like, we
What is the
drive to the
cutoff?
gorge from New York. What are you talking about 5 hours? Like, it's worth it. And it was really worth it. The whole experience was like really,
It
like
was.
it made the 5 hours nothing. It was so, and the fact that it's 2 nights really kind of like clinched it too. If it was like one night and I had to get back on the road, that would be
Yeah.
iffy. The fact that it was 2 nights was really a clincher.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm a
have you
big
been to
fan.
Northerly?
Northerly
They're
Irish.
trade
No,
off.
in Chicago, right?
Yes. So not a lot of people
No.
know they do it every other year like that because it is some sort of contractual agreement because those two venues are within the same district or they're so close to each other that they would be direct competitors if they did a show at both venues. If anyone knows the actual reason, I feel like I'm just making this up, but it's something about how close they are and that they're in the same like region or something like that, and then they have to trade off. So it's every other
Sure.
year at each
I
one.
get that. I get that. Yeah, I've never been there.
Controversial opinion, not my favorite venue. I love Chicago as a town, not my favorite venue. It's like a weird hill kind of, and then the
Uh-huh.
band is like on the other side of the hill. So if you're on the back of the lawn, you're only looking at screens. You can't I couldn't even see the band. Or some
Oh.
people say it's like that it's flat and then the band goes down or something like that. I know that I couldn't see them. I know that I was watching them on screens the whole time. And to be fair, I only saw Dave and Tim there. I didn't get the whole band experience.
Dave and Tim is an amazing thing to get to see.
Yeah,
I and
that was my
I
only Dave and Tim. But I count it as
think
a show in my
you
show
have to.
counts.
I count
Yeah.
it as a show because it is.
Yeah.
It's a
Do you count
branch
Rock and
off a
Roll Hall of
brand.
Fame as a show? I
Hell
count it
yeah,
as
I
a
do.
show. Some people
Hell yeah,
don't.
I do.
I put it in my
Well,
hub, and I was like, if
you
it's
know
in the
what?
hub, I'm counting it.
I don't think there's any actual defined rules in like the fan life.
If
So
I
we
bought a
can say whatever we
ticket
want to
and I
say.
saw the man, I count it as a show. If it's in the hub and I can count it in my show counts, I'm counting it.
Boom.
I like
Yes.
collecting them.
Yeah, no,
So my
I
pine knob story, which is also 22, that's why I
yes.
say when people are asking me, or when people, because they always ask you when you have like a non-fan or a mild fan, they ask you what's your favorite song. Then you just say which version. Do I do album or live? And then if I do live, which version?
Yes.
Do you want me to get into this rigmarole? Because I
I
will.
do.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No, not you, but I mean like the person
Oh.
asking,
Of course I do.
because they don't expect that,
No, they're like, wait a second, we're about to get real serious, and I was
Yeah,
asking a
they're like,
generic ass question.
yeah. So I always say 22 is my favorite season. It was my favorite tour. So my Pine Knob story, gosh, I feel like I have to tell the short version of it. So my good friend Michael, if he watches this, hello friend.
Hey, Michael.
My good friend from Michael, who I met in the beginning of time when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, when Facebook and apps and iPhones and all of the things didn't exist. And it was original internet days. And it was the message boards, the original Am I Dreaming message boards, oh my God, there was two of them. So it was probably the Am I Dreaming boards. And we met on those boards and we became good friends. We were friends for a real long time. And he's from Buffalo and I'm from Toledo. And we were just like Dave Matthews internet friends.
Yeah.
And we lost touch for a couple of years and would always circle back. And we lost touch for a couple of years and we'd always circle back. And then in 22. Now, let me backtrack a little bit. When I'm saying original internet days, that means I am like 18 or 19 years old, maybe. Okay. Under 20, I can guarantee.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 2000. So I'm at 19. That is 2003. And almost 20 years later, in 2021, the first year after COVID, when everybody was allowed to be at concerts again. Okay. So from 2003 to 2021, I had not met this friend of mine that we just kind of stayed connected for years. And this was the year that he was like, I'm going to travel to Pine Knob and we're going to hang out. And he came to Pine Knob. And so it was like tears because it's like a 20-year friend, that I'd never met in person. And so he came to Pine Knob and he is also a finagler like I am now. I learn from the best. So this is also, on a side note, this is how we should talk, Renae, and about when people say, when you go to 6 shows, that's got to be so astronomically expensive. I can't tell you how many free tickets I get, free hotels, free sleeping on somebody's couch, free, can I split a hotel with you? Can I sleep in my car in your driveway? You know what I mean? Like the amount of free tickets that I've gotten this year it's been an especially lucky year. But so I learned from the best. I learned from Michael to how to finagle and travel hack essentially. And he had, I want to say, 100th row that he turned into second row that he turned into pits, something like that. He was just finagling. He was just chipping away. He was in the groups. He was in the Facebook groups. He was like, I'll trade you this. I'll trade you. It's like the guy that traded a paper clip for a button and traded for a car and got a house one day. It's that guy. That's what Michael does. He's the guy that knows a guy, and he's going to laugh at all of this. He's going to think it's so funny. He'll be like, yes, absolutely. That's who I am.
Well, I mean, embrace it.
So I walked in with me and my best girlfriend at the time with lawn tickets, and I was ecstatic because I got to see my friend. I was with my best friend. Everything was happening. It was a swelter. It's always sweltering when it's Pine Knob. It's always like disgustingly hot, and that pavilion traps all the heat.
Yeah.
I walk in with my little old lawn that I was happy with, and I wasn't even looking to finagle or trade. And he walked in with his second row, and he said, "Okay, I'll meet up with you after the show. We'll all hang out." He walked in the gates and was like texting someone and finagling still trying to upgrade. And he tapped me on the shoulder. I wasn't paying attention because I never am. Tapped me on the shoulder and he was like, "Hey, have a good show." And he handed me those second row tickets and he said, "I found some pits. The tickets are yours."
Oh my God.
In an instant, I went from being a lawn lizard my entire life. And this was before I got your pit ticket. So this was truly the first experience off of the lawn.
Wow.
I went from lawn to second row in a venue where that second row feels like pit. And I'm not kidding you. Somebody look up that the layout of the land there. It is such a tight pit that I'm going to say as far back as fourth row is still closer than you would ever get in the pit at Alpine.
Wow.
And I was second row. And my best girlfriend at the time, we were walking, and then we had to start at lawn and walk that long walk down the stairs. And the stairs are like almost a straight arrow up. And she said, I'm going to hold your hand. Do not look up, because if you look up, you will never move your feet again. She knew me very well. And I was like, you're absolutely right. I'm going to stare down at my feet and I'm going to quietly hyperventilate while you walk me to the second row. And it felt like the longest green mile.
Wow.
And we get to our seats and I look up and I don't think he's out yet, but I see where the microphone is, which means that's where he will be.
Yes.
And I'll have to share the picture with you afterwards. I think I've shown it to you before. There's no sense in me holding my phone up to the camera now, but in an instant, I went from whatever age I was at that time to 6th grade Kelly with my first cassette tape at Christmas in that moment. And my whole face melted off of my skull. And I was just like a wet paper bag of tears. My whole face was I completely fell apart. And all I saw was like the microphone and the band setup and seeing how close I was. I had never been that close in my entire life before. And again, it was a miracle ticket. So thank you, Michael.
Wow. What did you think?
It was a miracle ticket. And then he came on stage.
Yeah. You cried when the microphone was standing there, but what did you do when the band came out?
It was such a sickening, toxic version of like the Messiah was on stage. Like it was so absurd.
Like there were angels going,
because I get so starstruck I get very, very, very starstruck easily. Like I always joke about the time that in our local breakfast joint, I went out to breakfast with my family and like the local weatherman was sitting at the table next to us. And I was like, it's him. You guys,
yes.
It's like the weatherman. I get so starstruck so easily. So for like the man, the band, the group that had meant so much to me for a huge majority of my life. And I was thinking about this as well, that like it really is one of the only mainstays through my life. Like I, of course, love a million other bands other than this band.
Yeah.
Hair has changed. Makeup trends have changed. Clothing has changed. Politics have changed. America has changed. I have changed. I have changed. I have changed in 100 different ways. And this is like the one mainstay that has followed me through my entire life. And I went from a casual fan to a mega fan in that moment because it was just like, it's him, dude.
Yeah.
It's him. Like, you're the one that has come through my radio. Like, it was just such a bonkers. It was bonkers. It was such a celebrity moment of like, you're not even a real person. And now you're so close that, yeah, you're a real person.
You're real. My
yeah,
God, you're
it
real.
was a miracle. So I got 2 miracle tickets that tour season. I was shown a lot of love and kindness that season. And it was a season of life where I needed that exact kind of kindness. I needed that exact kind of community. I needed that exact kind of grace, which is, of course, one of the biggest themes through all of his music is the word grace.
Yes.
And his daughter and my daughter's middle name because of that,
That's my daughter's name too.
First name?
Grace, yeah.
Why did I not realize that? Yeah, her
and it is not Dave Matthews Band related, but it works really well with this.
I think mine's like half related. I think her dad picked it out, and then in my mind it was like, it's because of this. Like I think I kind of just tell myself,
Yeah, sure. No,
but I mean, and those stories that I tell in the way that I tell them, they sound so dramatic to maybe a casual fan, but good God, did it mean something to me that year?
Yeah.
It meant enough for me to be telling this story in this way so emphatically, where I'm like halfway getting emotional thinking about it, Did you ever get a miracle ticket like that? Or a miracle experience or a welcoming experience? I mean, I think you've been welcome since day one. Everyone knows at the meetups who Renae Lipsmeyer is. She's a household name at this point.
Oh my goodness. I am no one that people should be watching, but I have a podcast and you should listen to that because it's not about me. It's about you and everyone else. I've told my story a long time ago, so this is not about me.
Okay.
Changes.
Skip the subject.
Surprises. Then. Let's see. I'm thinking because I know there's been miracles. There's been big things that happened. I don't know, right this minute. You put me on the spot.
No,
I'm like,
okay.
wait a second. I'm supposed to ask you questions.
I was just curious. Yeah, skip it.
I'm sure, and I hate that I'll probably think of something as soon as we get off of this, podcast, but I know some things will happen. So I'll text you later and I'll
Yeah,
go,
we'll gab
hey,
about it
here's
for sure.
30,000 things that I forgot about in that
No, you're fine.
podcast. But it's been good and people have been so kind. I'm not going to say that everyone has been kind, but that's the world we live in. That should
Mm-hmm.
not be a surprise to
No.
anyone. That not everyone that loves Dave Matthews Band is a truly nice person, but that's the world we live in. But I've met more good than bad, and I've met a lot of amazing people that I just would have never otherwise had a connection to, just because of where we live. We're in different, all the
Absolutely.
things different. And
Oh my
so I'm so
God.
thankful.
The amount of Columbus friends, Atlanta, Texas, New York, Indiana, Indianapolis,
Yeah.
Michigan, like just all over the place. Yeah, just connecting with those
Yeah.
people and like holding on to that community for so many years. And then
Yes.
every show feels like a mini family reunion where you connect with these people in the off season online and then you come together again in the spring. And it's like if you have a high school reunion every single year or a family reunion, I encourage the casual fans to find their squad, to find their
Yeah.
crew, to find you know, their army of
Absolutely.
ants.
Absolutely. Because
It's easier than you think.
there's no one set
Just walk up to
kind
one
of
stranger in a
fan.
parking lot, and that stranger will know a stranger who knows a stranger, and then all of a
That's right.
sudden it'll just come together. And it really enriches the experience. Like in this entire show, we've not talked about the music itself even once. It's been about the fans and the community, and like we don't need to debate over songs. We don't need to debate over a favorite band member. We don't need to debate over an album. We sure can. But like
Sure.
it's think I think more than the music, it is the community that brings us back
Absolutely.
every year. Because
Absolutely.
then
And so many
once you get
people
to the
say that.
show, you're so worried about sitting with your friends and who can share a blanket and let's play the set list game and what are they going to play next and I know when he picks up that guitar it means this song or if it's got the little ukulele it's going to be sweet.
Sweet.
Right?
That's a whole level of fanship that I have just enjoyed getting to know is,
Yeah.
when you can get to know, when you
The
can
instruments.
call it a
And when they're like, "Oh,
song,
he's
then,
picking up the 12 string versus the
right.
6 string." And I'm like, "I okay. Stop paying such close attention. Just enjoy it."
I love that game though, and I don't know why,
Yeah.
because I'm competitive. That's why I like it so. But so many people are into, okay, he's got this guitar and he's got this, whatever. It's going to be either like one of these three songs, and I've enjoyed getting to know that because that's just a deeper level of understanding the band, right? That
Mhm.
not there, he's not just up there with one guitar the whole time, and the horn section is not playing the same instrument the whole time they're over there. They are multi-talented. I mean, Dave can play the piano. We don't see it often enough,
Yeah.
but they're just so
We don't
multi-talented.
we yeah, we see it at the Gorge every now and then. He did that fantastic commercial, but we don't see it like in a
Right?
regular show. He never like joins Buddy and does God, wouldn't a dueling piano situation would just be so clutch.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, I want to see that. Although I mean, I would venture to say, and this is just my opinion, but I think that Buddy is a lot more skilled than Dave when it comes
Oh,
to
yeah, I
like
think it's
the
two different kinds.
keys.
One's a keyboardist and one's a piano player. I think there's a
Right.
difference. Yeah.
Right, right. I dig getting into these guys, and Buddy, of course, being the newest part of the band. I've really just been so surprised because I had never heard of him before the Dave Matthews Band. And so I dug into his past. What did he do before this? What is, blah, 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 blah. And his history just floored me, that he is not only like working with all of these other people, but he's in the Dave Matthews Band, which is very
Everyone
different
has
than
their
the
own
other
little
music
side
he works
gig.
with. Oh, for
Everyone in that
sure.
band has their own little side gig,
They
which is
do.
so fun and what an avenue for creativity and taking a break from the same 300 songs that they've played for 30 years.
Yes.
Everyone in
Yes.
that band. I don't honestly don't know if Stefan does though. Stefan or oh my God. I can't get the name Leroy out of my head, and that's not who I want to say. Carter. Jesus Lord, I just having complete brain blank. I don't know that Carter or Stefan do their own side gigs at
I
all, but
don't
I know everybody
know.
else does. Everyone's got like a little side project, you
If
know.
someone knows the side projects that they might be into, definitely drop us a line. Say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
it's this, because we are here to learn, right? I don't know everything. I will never know everything, but I want to learn as much as I can about this band because it's 2025, right? It's 2025, and this
Mm-hmm.
band started in 1991. I remind myself, and this is my trauma reflex probably, just I always think of what is going to happen when they are no longer a band. And I hate talking about that, but it is something that I think I try to prepare myself for so that it just
It's
doesn't
coming sooner than we
happen.
think.
I think
He
so.
said he's going to play until he can't stand anymore. And then
Well,
he'll take a chair out of the onto the stage. I think we'll
hell
see a
yeah.
lot more Dave and Tim,
Yeah.
and I'm willing to bet we'll see a lot more private single Dave solo shows. I don't think he'll stop. I think the band will stop. I
Yeah.
think Carter's wrists will stop before anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh.
But I don't think Dave will stop. I think he will saunter more into more Dave and Tim and then saunter into more solo shows, more private shows, more, I mean, I hate to say those corporate events, but a lot more festivals. He's doing so much more festivals this year. I think we're seeing a baby little preview of that.
Who knows? I'm sure someone knows and has heard the inner talks of everyone because at some point, at some age, like we retire, right? Musicians don't necessarily, a lot of people don't follow that whatever 65 I have to retire. Work as long as you love what you do and as long as you can do what you can do, and these
Yeah.
guys are still moving and shaking and able to stand and doing all the things, right? And so we wish them many years ahead, but I do think about that I will see that in my lifetime if I'm given as many years as I want. And that'll be such a shift in life. Not only we will have the music, we will forever have the music, but these little things that we're talking about, meeting up with our crew, our
Yeah.
community, the people that we see when we go to
It'll be
shows.
really hard to keep up with that. And we've done, like I said, the off-season meetups, but how many times can you do that a year when you don't have something new to connect it to? You can only talk about the same old things so many times.
Right.
That's the fantastic thing that we are so lucky that this band, after 30 years, is putting out new music still. Like, what?
Wild.
And not even just new music, but now new covers. They ventured down this cover avenue that some people love, some people hate. I love it. It's
I love
phenomenal.
it.
But like there's just been new things to talk about. It's not like, well, I mean, there's Dead and Company, but like it's not like a really super retired band that just stopped playing music and we're talking about the same broken record over and over again.
Right.
But when they stop, the meetups, like I think they'll be stronger at first and then we all will just kind of fade away. And I think it'll be time, and it'll just be like a beautiful chapter in our lives that we will have to close.
We'll all be busy with our grandbabies.
Goodness.
I'm not ready. I'm
No,
not ready.
ma'am.
I'm not ready. And I have kids that are like, I think about often that my oldest son is 1 year younger than I was when I had him. And oh my God, that is such a weird feeling. Such a weird feeling. And it's coming for you, mama. It's
No
coming for you
way.
real
9 and
fast.
11. I saw that big green binder come out.
You know what it is. The big green
I
binder
saw the big green
equals,
binder come out.
I'm about to test your
Let's do
memory,
it.
girl.
I'm ready.
So, I mean, I think that there's no better way to end this episode than to do it with trivia because that is
That's
how
how
we
we met.
met.
Yeah.
And it is the same binder and the same. I mean, I took this so damn seriously. Like, I typed up
Girl, you did.
every question. I have notes in the margin of, like, I need to double check that or whatever because truly, this is all from the internet. So, it's not going to be up to date as of 2025. It was printed in 21-ish. But I think that I think it's worth closing this one with trivia. I don't do this for everyone
Full
anymore
circle.
just because I do
Circle of
find that
life.
it gets people a little nervous when I break out an official trivia binder. Like, oh shit, she's been thinking about this. Hell yeah, for several years I
I ain't
have been.
scared. I ain't scared. Especially because I know these are all repeat questions that I answered 3
Yeah,
years
you just
ago.
have to remember from like a few years ago and you will get it. Let's see if you
Let's hit
retain
it.
knowledge.
Let's hit it. Maybe it'll
I know
inspire
you
you
do.
to bring the group back once a month or something. That would be so
That would
fun.
be so much
And I
fun.
think now that people know this podcast and know your group, I think it would explode. It would be more than just
I know.
the
I don't
little
even know that
six
I
of
would
us.
know how to manage a big group like that. Again, I'm a nurse. Like, I'm trying to figure all this out. Like, how the hell do you get a group of 50 people together to do trivia? I don't know.
Hilarious. Didn't you do a couple live at the meetups? I thought you did some live
I
ones.
did. Oh my God. I completely forgot about that. So silly because it was silly. I mean, I was just that girl that didn't have a podcast and nobody knew anything about me that showed up with a speaker, a microphone, and a binder. And I was like, hey, y'all, I am ready to do some trivia. And like, no one saw that coming.
Do it scared. Do it scared.
I was like, surely this crowd would appreciate some DMB trivia. Like, let's learn. And I understand that not everybody wants to dig into like the history of this band, but if you know me, you know I dig that shit. And so that's what I'm going to talk about.
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go. Let's start with this one just because I feel like you'll do okay with this. Okay, so what song is this? I'm going to try not to sing this.
Okay, this was always the hardest one.
Just for everyone.
Because I will be more likely to be able to finish the lyric than I will to be able to remember the title.
I wish I could sing like Dave, don't we all? I can't, but I'll do my best. Okay, here we go. Needle to the vein, needle to the
Rhyme
vein.
and reason.
Take this needle from my vein, my friend.
It's rhyme and reason.
Rhyme and reason. Look how fast you did that. You just were like, boom, I know it.
Yeah.
Needle to the vein. Rhyme and reason. That was very fast. That was very fast. Okay, this is a little off topic. Can you name a couple of guys that have played the keys in the history of the Dave Matthews Band?
A couple of guys?
Yeah, because we've got three that have done
Butch
it.
Taylor.
Yes.
And then there was one guy before him, right?
Peter
Greiser.
Yeah.
I hate that I know that.
Oh,
I hate that I know that I'm like a disgusting fan.
Peter. So the history is Peter first, then Butch. Butch had a long span with the band, an amazing keys player. And then, of course, in 2018, we got Butch. We got Buddy. It was the other B. And Buddy, super, super talented. Peter, of course, was also super talented. They've just had such luck with the keys, but they've not always had a keys player. So this band has just changed, kind of throughout the years. But
the organ sound that he puts out of that thing.
Yes.
It's the way that he makes it sound like we're not even going to get into the violin and the fiddle discussion. It's been beaten to death, but like the way that he can replicate it is so fun and so beautiful. It's fun to, I think another great trivia question is name some like drop-ins on an album. Name some non-band members like a Butch Taylor. Like the example would be on what would you say that harmonica is John Popper from Blues Traveler.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. Oh. Or like Alanis is on Spoon.
Right. My favorite would be when Santana joined in for one of the albums.
That's right.
It just, my God, that's a combination of two mega, Santana is amazing. And so for them to kind of go in on an album, that was incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so many great people that have joined in with them and they love that. They still do that. They still invite people to be on stage with them, especially at the Gorge where we have amazing bands that are pre-show every night before the Gorge. This year is going to be Goose, which is such a big band right now, especially a lot of the fans.
Bonkers that it's
what?
The Goose is.
I think it's just perfect. Like the stars of the moon, everything is aligned, and the fans of the Dave Matthews Band are going to get Goose and the Dave Matthews Band.
And then in Mexico, he's got Nathaniel Rateliff, and I'm like, come on. Okay, so let's hit me another question, and then we can wrap it up.
I'm going to hit you. Let's see.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's do two more.
Sure.
Two more. And for those that are listening, play along with us. Okay, let's see. Okay, this song lyric can be found on the band's Everyday album. Which song is it? I'm going crazy, and it's all because of you. It's all 'cause of you. I'm going under over you. This time now is so alive. God, it's so hard when you say it. I know. That's why I do it. I couldn't sing this though. Is it going to be so blatantly obvious or is it a deep cut? No, it's not a deep cut. It's not sang enough, but I would say that about every song. But let's read it one more time for those that may be listening.
Oh God.
I'm going crazy and it's all 'cause of you. It's all 'cause of you. I'm going under over you. And then he says, this time now is so alive. Everybody sway. Come on. You got it. I know. I don't got it. If you say it, I'm going to know it, but it's got it. Shit. Someone's screaming at their phone right now. Oh my God. There's people in their cars driving their kids going, hello, it's this. And the answer is so right. Of course it is. So, okay, let's think about it. I'm going crazy. Can you hear it now? And it's all because of you. It's all because of you. And especially this line, because I always found it so amazing how you reversed it. I'm going under over you. I'm going underwater. I'm drowning about you. I just love how he put under and over side by side, and it's just the perfect combination of words.
Yeah.
That has always really stuck out to me. I love So Right. I think it's one of those songs that he pulls out the electric guitar for, and I'm like getting excited when Dave electric guitar, gets pulled out. So, oof.
It's one of those that, again, when someone's going to ask your favorite song and you have to decide between album and live version, it's going to be
Oh,
that and Rooftop. Rooftop is great
yeah.
on the album. It is killer live. It's like a whole different
Yeah.
song live. And then Seek Up. Seek Up on the album, a regular amount of minutes.
Yeah.
Seek Up live, 145 hours. That
You
is that
never
that should
know.
be everyone's bathroom song. Seek Up is
You've got
25
time.
minutes.
But
It's
like
like,
you don't want to miss it. You just don't want to miss any of it because you don't know what they're going to do. And that's kind of what keeps a lot of us coming back for more. Yes, it's the community. Yes, it's the music, but also it's the chase of never knowing what is next. What are they going to do? What are they going to pull out of the deck, because their catalog is just so big. They could sing
from front to back
for
and
a it just, I mean, they have so many songs that I wonder how long it would take them to sing through their catalog. I do often wonder about things like that. Like if they just did a normal 18-song show, how many times would it take for them to sing their whole catalog? Why? I don't know the answer to, first of all, how many songs they have on their catalog. I would have to do some homework, and I'm willing to do that because that sounds like fun. But I think about random things like that. Do you ever think about random shit when it comes to the Dave Matthews Band?
I think about songs that they've never played that have been on an album that they've never played for whatever reason. I think
Mm-hmm.
about songs that they have abandoned because they were sick of it, or maybe like the audience wasn't really responsive to it, and then like what
Yeah.
that reasoning would be. Like, are you just sick of it and you have to get it out of the repertoire, or the audience wasn't connecting with it and you weren't getting any feedback? And then what makes you liberate a song? We're all looking for a liberation. You know what I mean? Like what
Right.
makes you finally bring it back? Everyone's going to ask, how do you decide a set list? Because we all know that there's core songs that you're never like, too much. Anyone seen the bridge? Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then right now, this season, the encore is going to include his new song "Peace on Earth," which
Yes.
I was not, again, controversial opinion, not the biggest fan of. It feels
Yeah.
like a little bit like a school project and someone asked you to write a song and you scribbled it out. I mean, that's a hot opinion. I will say that at Riverbend they covered it with a full band, or they did it with a full band rather than solo, and I liked it better full band. So I might have to come
Yes.
around on it. But I'm off topic. I don't know what we were saying.
No, just, things we talk about that are
Oh, random stuff. Yeah, random
random
things you think about how
statistics
they do a set list.
and
And anymore, I would roll dice. And people get worked up like, oh, this is the first time they've played this song at this venue. Those things I could care less about. I'm more looking at it linear over the tour. Like, oh, it's the first time he's played this year. I'm not like, I can't possibly keep track of what songs he has or has not played at a particular venue. But some people keep track of that, especially if you have a home venue and it's the only one you go
well, there
to.
is the almanac, the DMB
Yeah.
almanac, and they have all of that ready. Like you can find out anything you want to know about statistics right now just by going to that website.
Yep.
And I do use it a lot. Like statistics that make me happy are, like, for instance, the St. Louis show, one song from each album. One song from each album.
That's a
What
fun way to do it.
the
That's a really
fuck?
fun way to do it.
I mean, in the moment, I didn't realize because I wasn't taking notes. Because have I ever taken notes at a Dave Matthews Band concert? Hell yes, I have. But I
Renee.
didn't. I'm not even
Renee.
joking. I would be like, shit, I got to remember that. I
Renee.
swear to you, I am that nerd that's like, I got to remember, because if I don't write it down,
Girl.
I will forget it. Call me what it is. I'm taking notes and I'm learning shit. But that was exciting, but I didn't realize it in the moment. I didn't realize it until later, when everybody else was talking about it and putting those statistics out, because there are so many groups and
Yeah.
podcasts and websites that fans have developed and maintained that are truly have that information for those fans that do enjoy that. That's just a whole nother side of the fan world. There's everything, and there's everything you can think of. So again, if we can encourage you to do anything, if you're listening to this podcast, first of all, you found it more than likely either from another Dave Matthews Band fan or you're part of those groups already. So congratulations for branching out a little more and giving a podcast a chance, because
That's right.
we do have a lot to say. It's too much. It's so much. It's all the things, but it's what the fans are saying about this band that's changed our life,
Yeah,
made
I
a
don't think you're
big
going to have
imprint on
any,
us.
I don't think you'll have any casual fans listening to a Dave Matthews themed
I
podcast, but
mean, I don't know.
no, but no. I mean more so they're going to be a strong fan of the band, but maybe they haven't reached out and found their tribe yet and found their group. And if
Exactly.
this episode will teach you, like, do it scared. Walk up to someone. Find me. I don't know. I'm easy to find.
Yeah, you're
5'2", red hair,
cute.
big mouth.
Yeah, you can be found.
But I'm saying, like, so there might be someone that's listening and has been a fan for a real long time and just hasn't had that leap to reach out and find their community, and this is your sign.
Right. Right. This is your sign. There's no better time to find the Dave Matthews Band and to dig in deeper. And if you've loved them forever, you can. What I was fixing to say is you can go even deeper, but you know what? That might be taken the wrong way. Dig in there and get a little deeper. Get your hands dirty.
Get grimy.
Dig in that history. Come on. And there we go. I'm glad that came up, because I know that you can put up with my dirty mouth. I told my husband the other day, I was like, what does it feel like to be married to a dirty old man? And he was like, I fucking love it.
Dave's a dirty old man himself.
I mean, there ain't nothing wrong about talking about things we do.
You're so funny.
Well, guys, if you're listening to this and you are interested in seeing what Kelly looks like, because she's just so pretty. I love her. No, or even just watching us laugh and making fun of us, dude, I'm open to that too. Come on.
It's
Come
fun that we
on.
got to share our story of our friendship and our connection,
love
and then it
that
goes
because-
pre-podcast. And you were really like my first sense of like taking me under your wing and like helping create that sense of community where I felt brave enough to then move on to more and more and more. Like you said, like you can be a major fan, but it's the people that bring you back. You know, it's I wouldn't go to 6 shows by myself. I go to 6 shows to have mini family reunions, and I encourage everybody, find your family, find your tribe, and it'll make you want to go to more shows. You'll be there for the people more than you are for the music itself.
You will be. And that sounds crazy, but it will
It's
happen.
so true.
When you meet the right squad. For sure.
For sure.
So I encourage you to dig and get on those Facebook groups we've talked about. There's a whole world of Dave Matthews Band that you don't even know about. So with that being said, if you are listening to this on a podcast app, just know that you can watch this on YouTube, just simply under the space between podcasts. Almost all of my episodes are up on YouTube, so you can go back pretty far. The very first season, of course, we didn't capture because we just didn't know what I was doing. And now I feel a little stronger and kind of like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing. I don't, but we're on YouTube, so you can watch it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. It'll let you know when a new episode is out, because I'm just sporadic, especially during the summer months when we're all really intensely like into the band and watching the band and wanting to hear more about the band. I put out episodes like twice a week, 3 times a week, just depending on, the mood of everything. And so check out social medias. That'll tell you when a new episode is coming out. And if you are listening to this on a podcast app, just know that giving a review for a podcast is a really big deal. That is how other people can be linked to this podcast should you have like similar interests. But also people want to know, like, is this a good podcast to listen to? Put your thoughts and feelings. Kelly, I can't thank you enough for being back on the show again. And be sure to check out, I want to say,
I think I'm on 2 other episodes.
Yeah, season 1 for sure. And then we did one, I think, on Monsters, where we broke down the song Monsters.
That's right.
Yeah, that was really great. Look,
yeah, that's right. That was a great episode.
It was a great episode. We've done so many fun things. There's almost 200 episodes out. So if you find one that's not for you, click into another one, because they are all very, very different. So I encourage you to check it out. And if you would like to share your Dave Matthews Band fan journey, no matter when you found the band, your journey is important. And we want to document all of that here on this podcast. So definitely just send me a message through any social medias. Kelly, we'll have you back on the show.
Babe. Would love it.
Of course, you're always welcome back on, whether we're doing group
Maybe
talks
in a
or
group,
singles.
we'll get the old trivia gang back together.
Hey, yeah, old school. Let's do an old school show. That would be really, really fun.
Yeah, for sure.
In the meantime, guys, peace, love, and Dave Matthews Band.